Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira with another episode of Munira's Musings. Our guests today have a very unique niche, and they go out in the world and teach self-defense. I want to know more about this. But before we start and go into this, I want to let everybody know that if you are watching, let us know where you're watching from, one. And two, if you like what you're watching, please go ahead and share it, subscribe to our channel. You know we do this because we love the fact that we are in a niche. Sometimes we don't know what niche to pick, but see, I've got so many different people from so many different walks of life who have showed us that whatever you have can become a niche. So today we have a twofer. We have Jamie Anderson and Brian Anderson, who are the brains and the creators of the Weapon brand. Welcome to Munira's Musings.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Munira. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. So what is it that you do? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I'll let you take this, Brian.
I cut out for a second there and I missed that. I'm sorry.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, geez. Well, I love long walks on the beach, especially now that I'm Florida. No, so my history goes back to when I was 19 years old. I guess I started in the to get a little bit of this into this field when I went to the Marine Corps, and I was in the Marine Corps for quite a while, and then from there I also worked for the state government, mainly for the state of Ohio. And I did a lot of different things for the state of Ohio and the Marine Corps, and so many of them revolved around training and revolved around the self-defense, whether it's with a firearm or hand-to-hand world. So I had a pretty lengthy background in that, and I actually opened my own training facility in Northeast Ohio in July of 2018. So it'll be 5 years here in July. And just about a year and a half ago, one of the things that we did out of that training academy was we taught self-defense classes and a lot of different personal safety type of things within that gym or academy, we call it. I was planning on opening Weapon brand already, and it just happened to be one day I contacted Jamie, who we've always been extremely close. We're 3 weeks apart, and in age. And I'll let her tell the story. She loves to rub some salt in the wound, but of how I came down here to Florida and helped her open up the business, and we did this together. And man, I'll tell you, man, for the past little over a year now, we opened in October of last year. We've been going 100 miles an hour. Every day is a little bit busier, and you know, it's sad that people do need the stuff that we teach, but we're here teaching it, and people are very, very receptive to it. So we're thankful for that.
Okay, so you said a few things which are now have questions popping up, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
You said you were in the Marine Corps. Have you retired?
No. I did 8 years and 11 months. I did just under 9 years.
So you're out of Marine Corps.
Out.
But thank
Yes,
you so
I'm
much.
out. I'm out now. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
So the second thing is that you started your studio in Ohio and now you're in Florida, but you're starting teaching self-defense. Why is that important to people?
So one reason that we look at this as being so important for us is because we're civilians. We're regular people. And what I was doing for a living was I was teaching police officers, troopers, correction officers, parole officers, task force agents. You know, I was teaching that community, SWAT operators, special operators, all those types of individuals that had to learn it because that was their job. And I just felt that there's so many of us right now that don't get that training. You know, they get allotted typically about 40 hours of what they call in service a year, to where they could go over things like that as far as like firearms, hand-to-hand combat. But we don't, as civilians, we don't. And the very eye-opening sad truth is the national average police response time across the United States is 18 to 20 minutes. And that may be different where you live, it may be 3 minutes. But someone may live in an area where it's 45 minutes. So the thing that we got out of that was us as civilians, well, we need to learn things also that help us become our own first responders. Us being able to protect ourselves and our family before the good guys show up and help us out. So that was one huge drive that Jamie and I are consistently pushing.
So you said law enforcement officers, everybody in that realm,
Right.
you teach them. So why don't they get training on the job, and why is it that you have to, you as a company, weapon brand, have to go out and teach these people?
Well, so let me clarify. So I actually did that by trade. I did that for a living. I worked in that community, and I was a full-time law enforcement trainer. So where I thought that we needed it was civilians, just us regular people. However, the main reason is because they already get it. And if your question is why would they come to us, they still do for extra training, maybe to get a little bit of a different spin on what they're already doing year in and year out. We have different agencies that reach out for that, but we mainly are focusing on corporations such as real estate companies, apartment complexes, different. I mean, it could be. We did a Verizon Wireless at one point. I can't remember off the top of my head what the actual name was, but they were affiliated with Verizon. So we do hospitals, things like that. So law enforcement already get it. They come to us for extra training, but there are allotted typically that in service each year. However, once again, to answer your question, we mainly focus on corporations that would not be allotted to get that within their job.
Okay, so going into a corporation, and like you mentioned a few of the names, but why is that important? Like we've heard, right, Idaho just had a shooting, right? And we had schools, and I understand that teachers need this, right? Because
absolutely,
there's some people who are just don't even know what to say, but they just feel the need to go out there and make a name for themselves in the wrong way. But so why is it that other companies would need this training?
Well, I can tell you this. I can answer that question by telling you this. Jamie and I both believe, and most of our clients now that take our courses believe, that there's more good people out there than bad. We're not ambulance chasers. We're not trying to prey on fear for our business. There's more good people doing good things out there than bad people doing bad. However, the reason that they would need that is because it only takes one bad person to change your life. It only takes one bad incident. So, our whole mindset is let's teach people first to accept the fact that there could be that one bad person, that one predator, that one individual that's willing to commit themselves to a violent act. Understand that there's great people out there, good people out there, but we do have to accept that there could be that one. So let's teach you how to protect yourself from that one. And more importantly than that, how to detect it and then avoid that one. So that's why we would teach people that typically don't get self-defense in their regular job duties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me answer too. You had asked like why a company would have us come in. One, a lot of companies have wellness programs, so they want their employees to be healthy and happy. They want their employees to feel like that they care about them, that they're just not a number, an employee showing up to work and that nothing else. But I think one of the most important reasons for companies is that if I get attacked and I work for your company, I'm probably not coming to work the next day. I might not be coming to work the next week or month, or I may never come back to work. But I was just listening to a podcast of a gal who was carjacked. She was a teacher, And she ended up quitting her job and never going back to being a teacher because she was so overcome with the PTSD and trauma from the attack. So that ends up affecting your bottom line as an employer. So not only is your employee there, not there, so you're losing that work from them, but now you've got to go hire somebody else and that train somebody else, and that costs money. So wouldn't you rather just your employees be empowered to be their own weapon, to be able to protect themselves, than have to go through finding a new employee, training them, replacing the person that you lost, and that person may be someone that you really care about. So
Got it. Okay. No, this is important because we've never looked at it from that perspective, right? And you have. Now, you said, Brian, you mentioned the statistics that law enforcement doesn't show up approximately 18 minutes out, right? And it's always like that. We watch it in the movies when the bad guys are gone is when the good guys show up. And they're always a step ahead of us. And but then the question that arises in my head that there have been people who've been protecting their families, but because they shot the bad guy or something happened, they are now in jail because justice prevailed.
Sure.
Does then this training come into effect for those people?
Absolutely. One thing, we have a few different things that make us stand out within the self-defense community. But one thing that we consistently teach, especially with our firearms, we do teach it with our hand-to-hand self-defense, but especially when we teach people about protecting themselves with firearms, which, by the way, isn't our main focus at all. We just feel that training is the one thing that we consistently teach is how are you building your own report in your mind to make yourself justifiably responsible during and after that event. Meaning, do you know what type of elements are needed to write or articulate a good report for law enforcement after you've been in that kind of event? We teach that kind of stuff. So that gives you a lot more confidence, not only on when to use the firearm, but also if you can use the firearm as well. And that does kind of bleed over into hand-to-hand stuff as well, because the way that we teach individuals is first, accept it; second, detect it; third, if you can't avoid it, fight out of it. And the way that we teach our people to fight out of it is we are very offensively defensive, meaning we take the fight to the attacker. So they want to back out of it and then get away, contact law enforcement, get the good guys there to help us out and make sure everybody's safe.
Okay, thank you. So
absolutely.
So you went from Ohio to Florida, and now you're settled there, or do you have a franchise?
No, so those are a couple of different questions. So I am settled here. So I had this conversation last night. They're like, are you a Florida resident? I have a condo here in Florida. However, I still have a business in Ohio, and Jamie and I still operate Weapon Brand out of Ohio. We operate everywhere, all over the nation, but our two main places are Ohio, because we have our training academy there, and then also Florida out of the Tampa and St. Pete area. However, to answer your question directly, Munira, yes, I am here in Florida permanently. It's a little bit nicer here in Florida than Ohio.
Okay, so you're making this a very national comment here that you are in Florida, but so is this?
I'm gonna get some heat from that,
Right. So are you going to do this? Is this a national brand? Is this you have like centers everywhere, or when people join you, do they have to come to Florida or Ohio?
We are. I'll take this one. Give you a
Go
little.
Ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Dave.
We actually travel all over the United States doing our trainings. So we'll go to wherever anybody needs us. Heck, if you're in Europe or, Africa or wherever you're at, we'll travel there. You just got to pay for it.
Come on, get us there.
Yeah. So, so we do travel to do our trainings. Our instructor development program is being formed right now. And so once we have more instructors, then they'll either come and work for us and be traveling so that Brian and I can kind of, handle things on the home front instead of always being on the road. And they'll also have the opportunity to open their own weapon brand in their own city. So
okay, so you have the foresight of opening up a franchise. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Now, who is this training for?
I always say it's for people who leave their homes or people who don't leave their homes.
How about humans? It's for humans.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a little bit of background from Brian, but Jamie, have you been in this industry? What's your background?
I actually was in radio for many years. When I lived in Los Angeles, I sold radio advertising, and then I opened up my own advertising agency doing traditional media, radio, TV, outdoor, print, things like that. And I've been doing that since 2011. But Brian came to visit me in Florida, and he was kind of going through a rough time in his life with, women. They're the cause of all evil, right?
Yes. I don't think so, but okay.
Yeah, no, he was going through a breakup. And so he came down to Florida to get some saltwater therapy. And when he was down here, I was getting ready to go to a music festival. I go to a lot of events where there's tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people. And he said, I want you to be safe. All of these crazy active shooter situations happening. There's a lot of bad stuff out there that you can get yourself into if you're not careful. So he said, let me do this workshop for you and your friends who are going, and anyone else who might just want to be safe. And so I put it on Facebook with a little bit of his background of, I always tell people this, he never brags about it, but I think it's like the coolest jobs in the world that he was actually a sniper in the Marines. Like, sadly, he actually had to do that because it's not fun, having to do what a sniper does. But it's just something that you don't talk to every day about. Different people don't normally have that job. He was also a hostage negotiator and a violent fugitive recovery specialist. And then he created this whole program for the state of Ohio. So I had put that on Facebook and said, hey, come listen to my cousin talk about what we can do to be safer. And 30 people right away within 90 minutes said, we want to come. So I asked our local coffee shop if we could have it at their place because I couldn't have all those people at my place. And everybody, once they heard him speak, were like, we want more training from Brian. Like, how can we have access to him? Are you doing more trainings? Are you doing anything online? Like, how can I get some of the information that he knows back to my family and back to my employees? And so that's why we started Weapon Brand down in Florida. He was actually going to start this anyways in Ohio without me. And then when he came down here and just saw the need and the really desire for the people down here who wanted it, we decided to do it down here as well.
That's awesome, right? A very cool story.
Can I interject for 1 second? I just want to throw something out there. I got to give Jamie a little plug right now. She said she is accurate. She's correct when she says I was going to form this company already, but I can tell you right now, every company needs a Jamie because if I didn't have Jamie, she's the yin to my yang, and I'm going to tell you right now, if I didn't have her helping me with this and us, just the cohesiveness that we have as a team and the friendship and the relationship we have, I'm going to tell you now, this business, I don't want to say it would fail, but it would be a heck of a lot harder than what it is right now. So I'm very thankful that I did reach out to her and that did happen. So
it's true. Dave. Behind every successful man is a woman, right?
Yeah, I could agree with you on for this portion, whatever. Maybe not everything, but for that one, absolutely.
All right, but it's happened before, right? So yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Anyways, so just to make the light of it. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about this is really interesting. So you teach a lot of different segments, or everything is all rolled into one?
We have several different classes. We probably have 20 plus different types of classes, between different levels of self-defense, different levels of firearms training. A lot are lecture-based. We have classes that are specifically focused on realtors, which we actually just got approved in Florida to be able to grant CEs, which are the continuing education credits that they need, so they can come to us to get some of their CEs to keep their licenses up. We teach police, still law enforcement, and SWAT teams will have us come in and do trainings for them. But yeah, so we work with people with disabilities. Brian's an adaptive athlete coach. So no matter, if you're in a wheelchair, using a walker, a cane, a scooter, whatever your ability level is, we can help you. But it's all based around self-defense, but there are about 20 different offerings, and also including one called rideshare driver safety. So if you're driving for Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or Amazon, there are actually a lot of attacks on people in that industry. So we teach you how to be safe if you are one of those drivers, or even a passenger who uses those types of services often.
No, this is amazing. So, okay, I mean, so there's different segments to different classes, or there's one rolled one program that people can just join and take all of the different classes, right? How long is the program?
You know what, our classes are really designed to be easy to learn, easy to remember, and the most highly effective techniques. So it's not like going to a dojo or a studio 3 times a week for many years to learn these really cool moves that might work in an incident, but are kind of hard to remember and hard to learn. So our techniques are super easy to learn. Our classes are 2 hours long. You can take 1 2-hour class and leave there feeling empowered to be able to protect yourself if you needed to. Obviously, the more you take, the more you're going to get to practice, and the more tools that you'll have in your toolbox in case an incident like that ever does happen. But yeah, literally after 2 hours, we may never ever see you again. Luckily for us, most of our clients love the training that they receive and want to come back for more training and have the ability to, not just have a couple of techniques that they know will help save their lives, but they have an entire toolbox full.
So I am in Chicagoland, and if I wanted something like this, I'm not in Ohio, I'm not in this thing, where can I get these trainings?
Yeah. Well, I would say either have us come to Chicago, which if you get a big enough group together, we can do that, or get some training locally, because even if it's not from us, we just want people to be safe. So, look up your local self-defense experts in the area. But they won't be as good as us, but doing something is better than nothing.
They won't be as fun as us. How about that?
Okay, so give us 3 things that people should do now if they're thinking about this, and what is the first thing they need to know about self-defense? So give us 3 tips that you can leave our listeners with.
I could throw one out. I could throw about 100 out, but if you want 3, the one thing that I could tell you, Munira, is very first and foremost, know that you are worth defending. A lot of people have this very low self-worth, or they don't feel that they are important enough, or they can learn what we can teach. And we always start with you're worth defending. If you're living, if you're walking, if you have family, even if you are 100% independently solo and alone, you are worth defending. And then the second, I would say, and I'll let Jamie start thinking about the third, but the second I would say, Munira, is accept the fact that it could happen. We have so many people that that are misconceived by the fact the remote possibility they may be attacked is probably not present, and that's so untrue. We tell people, do not become desensitized to that remote possibility. Even though it is remote and likely you're going to go your entire life without being attacked, just that one attack could change your life. So accept the fact that it could happen. It does happen every single day to people. Don't let it be you, or don't let it be your family. So those two things, accept it and know that you're worth it.
Okay, number 3.
What's number 3, James? Here we go.
I think that making safety a priority in your life is important. So many people come up to us and say, wow, it's a great idea. I love what you're doing. I really need that. I want that for my wife or girlfriend or son or myself. But then they don't buy the tickets to come to the classes because they think that it's never going to happen to them. And so it's not a priority. So I think putting safety at the top of your list of priorities of things that you need to get handled, it's more important than doing your laundry. It's more important than washing your car. Like all of these excuses that people give, on a Saturday as to why they're not showing up for a self-defense class, that they have all these other things to do. But all of those other things won't matter if you are not returning home at night because you got yourself into a situation that wasn't safe. So yeah, I would just say making safety a priority is something that people can really take home and think about, like, what am I doing today to make myself, my family, my employees, my company safer?
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Any last words?
Go ahead, Jane. Give us some words of wisdom.
I think just to recap what Brian said, that you are worth it. And no matter what you're going through, if it's mental, are you having PTSD or trauma? Do you have anxiety or depression? Or do you have a physical illness like cancer or, diabetes? Whatever you're fighting, you can be your own weapon. You have to be your own first responder. And we want to help you be a weapon. We're a family here. So you don't have to necessarily use a weapon to be a weapon.
Wonderful. Thank you. Where can people find you?
You can find us online at weaponbrand.com and all of the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Meetup. If you just search for Weapon Brand, Be Your Own Weapon, or Becoming Your Own Weapon, you'll find us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. It's so amazing that you have taken what you know and created a niche. I have found that so many people have just stayed on the sidelines, just thinking about what it is they can teach. But I have been learning from my other mentor who has been teaching me that you are fully resourced and you have what it takes to just take yourself to the next step. So if you are, my listeners, to you that I say, if you are standing on the sideline, you have it within you, you have the tools, you have the training that you've already taken, just make something out of it. This became an idea, a workshop together with friends has now become an enterprise. So you never know what you can do with your ideas. So until next week, when we have a new brand, a new person with a new niche and a new idea for you to take on or tackle, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we will see you next week with another episode. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.